Hey guys, welcome back to Heal, Survive, and Thrive. This week I want to talk about something that I haven't really ever talked about, and I do think it's something that's super powerful, is learning your love language. And the reason why this is so important is because you have to know how you want to be loved, how you want to be treated, what are the things that you value that someone will give you or does to you. And if you don't really know this stuff, and I don't think a lot of people really know what it is that they want in relationships, and this is really the start, how you want to be loved is so, so important. I think at times we can think that we know. We can think that certain things will make us happy, whether that's being showered with gifts or, someone telling you in every single moment how amazing you are and how much they love you. But over time, you tend to really learn about yourself the most when, unfortunately, you don't get certain things. So I know for me personally, I learned the most about myself after relationships, and I kind of reflected back to think, wow, what were the things in that relationship that I felt like I didn't get, and the things that were really, really important to me. And not only did I not get them, but was this person even capable of giving me them? And we're all capable of giving everything to each other, right? But it's really about who a person is, what they value, how they give love, and is that the way that you want to receive love? I do think it's always the easiest when you can find someone that loves like how you love. That can be very, very easy to be in a relationship with someone like that. But quite frankly, as long as you value and respect the person, even if you two aren't on the same love language, and you know that, like I said, you really value this person and you respect them, and this is the person that you want to be with, you will be more mindful of the things that are important to them and the things that for them make them feel important or make them feel loved. And you will kind of not alter yourself, but you will conform to what your partner needs because that's what's important to them. As long as it's not something that goes against your own values and beliefs, then I think that that's just a normal, healthy compromise in any relationship. So for all the people out there who do not know the 5 love languages, we're going to start with the first one, which is words of affirmation. So what is this? This is basically verbal compliments. So this is where you can express to another person the love that you have and the appreciation you have and the admiration you have for them through words. Some people can write love letters. Some people can go on and on and on about how much they love a person, and they can tell the whole world and they can get very detailed in it. And other people feel very uncomfortable verbally expressing themselves. And instead of expressing themselves through words, they'll do it in different ways. But if words of affirmation are important to you, then you need to hear those compliments. And I really feel that throughout all of these love languages, there are usually one, probably two that are the dominant ones. I mean, obviously, we all are going to love all of these things, and you might like to hear compliments, but it's not something that you need to have in your relationship in order for you to feel love in the relationship. But for some people, words of affirmation is the dominant love language that they need in any relationship. So how you express your love through these words, like I said, could be compliments. It could be just appreciating the person and letting them know. It could be telling them that you really love them, and it being said with such passion and such a different tone than just the average person walking out of the house on their way to work saying, "Love you, babe." This is the type of person that writes love letters or loves to read love letters and needs to get a card that really they can read just how much they're valued and loved by their partner. This is also the person that after a conflict has been dealt with, that they need that sincere apology, that they need, they need to feel, again, through words, that they're still loved, that they're still valued, that the other person, didn't mean to do what they did. And that quick apology is just not enough for this type of a person. Now, the next love language is acts of service. And what this is really any act that gets rid of you having the burden or the responsibility to do the act. So for example, this is something where if you're, say, a woman, I know I am definitely an acts of service person. That is one of my dominant love languages. Because for me, being able to recognize or just lighten the load for me shows love, because that means that you can see that I'm drowning, that I need help, that there's too much on my plate, and that you can come in, not only recognize that, but take that load off my back a little bit. For me, that goes miles. That says so much. And this isn't just a romantic partner, this is even for friendships. Something like washing the dishes, or, saying, you know what, I got this, you go take a nap, or I'm going to go get the laundry, why don't you sit down? Just all of those things. For me, that's, like I said, that's my dominant love language, but that is an acts of service. So if you are an acts of service person, that's something that not only, of course, is appreciated, but it really shows you how much a person really loves you, because they're thinking about your well-being. And this is why I can talk on and on about this one, because this is my dominant one. But it allows someone to take care of you for a second versus you always taking care of everyone. The next love language is quality time. And like I said, all of these love languages, for me personally, we all need this stuff. We all need a little bit of words of affirmation. We all need a little bit of acts of service. But like I said, there's always going to be one or two that are going to be the predominant thing that you need in your relationship in order for you to feel really loved and valued in the relationship. And for some people, it is quality time. They need their partner to make them a priority, to give them undivided attention. So there are some people that, when the kids go to bed or we're home from work and we've had dinner and we've cleaned up and we're good, we need to sit on the couch and just be together and not have too many distractions, or go for a walk together. And that's really important to some people. And that's what shows them, hey, you can put your entire life aside and just be here in this moment with me. And that shows me how much you really love and value and appreciate me. This is where, if this is your dominant love language, then your partner planning dates for you or doing something together, whether it's going on a trip or going on a bike ride or anything, going to the beach, whatever it is, whether it's something that you enjoy doing or they enjoy doing, you just are glad to be a part of just being with that person and not having the day-to-day responsibilities of life and just enjoying each other. And that's something that you really, really crave in your relationship. This love language also is really about the connection, and we all need connection, but again, we get it in different ways. So a person that really craves the quality time, and that is their dominant love language, they have a ton of empathy and they want to listen to their partner, and they don't want to interrupt, and they want to make eye contact, and they want to really have that intimate conversation with their partner on how they're doing and how they're feeling. That, of course, is a very important thing in any relationship, let alone a romantic one. But for some people, they really crave that. Whereas others, like I said, acts of service, words of affirmation, whatever your dominant love language is, that is the thing that you really, really need in your relationship. The next love language is giving gifts or receiving gifts. And for me, this is probably the least dominant of my own love language. Of course, we all love to receive little gifts. And I think it's more of a token of your love, a reflection of, hey, I was thinking of you, and this is the thoughtfulness and effort because I was thinking of you and thinking that you would probably like this, that is put into the gift that I think people really value. And that's something that, of course, I value as well. But for some people, the gift giving and gift receiving is really high up there with the way that they show and want to receive love. And this is something surprising them with something that that they'll really love. And of course, we all do this from time to time. And I think this is actually a way that I sometimes will show love, is by giving gifts, because I love to, and I love to think about what someone needs or what they would really want that maybe they're not purchasing for themselves or thinking that they need, but they would really value it. It's funny sometimes because your love language, what you want to have from people, could be a couple of different things. It could be one thing, it could be two, like I said. But sometimes, often, when you give love, it could look a little bit differently than how you want to really receive love. And the last love language is physical touch. And this, of course, is a non-sexual touch. This isn't just let's be intimate with each other and let's get down to business. This is more of the person in your relationship that needs to be held, needs to be touched. They're always the one hugging a little bit longer. They're always the one that wants to just kiss, not necessarily be intimate, but just the act of being physical with their partner is so, so important to them. So hand holding, massages, any kind of a touch whatsoever, even just putting your hand on your partner's leg or arm or anything or neck means a lot to them. And that's how they want to receive love. And that's often sometimes how they give love as well. So this isn't about really talking and having that quality time. This is more about holding each other without even having to say a word, or cuddling in bed, and not having to be intimate. Just being physically near each other is really important to someone where this is their predominant love language. So now that we kind of know what are the 5 love languages, why is this so important? And I think I touched on it briefly in the beginning, but to know how you want to be loved is, like I said, it's so important. And I think oftentimes we don't really know how we want to be loved until we are in relationships where we didn't receive the thing that is the most important to us. For me, I never realized in my 20s and even in my early 30s that acts of service was a really important thing for me. But being able to see that I was drowning, see that I was overwhelmed, and being able to not just recognize that I was feeling that way, but come in and take that burden, take that responsibility off my shoulders. I would have never guessed in a million years when I was 25 that was going to be my love language. But to be honest, it has evolved over time. I think during points of certain relationships, I would have said words of affirmation, and that's probably because that wasn't the thing that I was actually getting. Or it could have been physical touch, or it could have been quality time. Like I said, giving gifts for me is not a dominant love language, but I do think that once you kind of know who you are and what are the things that you really value, then when you do start dating or if you're in a relationship, number one, you're able to express verbally, hey, this is what I really need. This is what shows love for me. This is how I need to be taken care of. And you can see if someone's, number one, if they're the same as you in terms of their love language, but then you get to see if someone's even capable of giving the things that you really value. For me, acts of service, like I said, is number one. And I will say quality time and physical touch are kind of probably close in hand. I would probably say quality time is number 2. And early on in many relationships, I realized that was not something that the other person had on their radar at all, and nor was it anything that they were even able to give me, probably because they were narcissistic, but it wasn't something that they valued and wasn't important to them. And when they also didn't value me as well or respect me, then it was never something that they could give the relationship. So if you don't know your love language, I really highly suggest that you go online and look up the 5 love languages. There's a ton of quizzes out there to see which one is your dominant and your number 2 language that you really are looking for in relationships. Not only taking the quiz, but I often tell my clients to do this. Reflect back on all of your past relationships and think about the things that you got from your partner that you really loved. When you want to start thinking about your next relationship and a person that you want to possibly attract into your life, reflecting back on your past relationships is a great first stepping stone. The reason why I say that is because it allows you to look at all of those relationships, see the things that you actually valued about that person, or maybe even just liked about the relationship, and also the things that you didn't get that you wish you got. And those are going to be the most important things, because especially if you're a little bit older and you've been in a few relationships now, then it's even easier to start really honing in and defining, okay, who am I and what do I need? When you can look back on those relationships and think of all the things that you really wanted from your partner at the time, but they weren't able to give you for whatever reasons, and that those were the things that you really needed from them, or just needed for yourself in general. We tend to learn a lot about ourselves when unfortunately we've experienced life, right? That's why they say the older that you get, the wiser you are. You tend to really start to know yourself when you get a little bit older in age, or not. You could definitely be in your 20s and know exactly who you are and what you want. But I do think the more experiences you have over time will determine, who you become and who the person is that you want to be, right? So I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.